crisp flounder concluded in crushed ice fill out of crates onto the flawless steel tables. Really concerned of year on Brexit, says Barend Hakvoort, whose job it is to provide the Netherlands' greatest minnow auction house building maintains its stocks. Lot er human beings are fishery by a UK banner, they own a lot of quote. If the UK says they must earth the minnow in the UK, we miss a lot of clients. We include a length story. In Brexit they can fair cast it off and say these are the new rules. Captain Andries wears a plaid cap and a hoop shackle. If we lose the UK water we'd Mississippi 50% of Holland where. I'm nerve, I don't aware which the next brings. His 17-year-old son Yeli attends Fishery High School. It's really breathtaking, fishery, he grins. Yet, looking front 5 year he is concerned, I don't believe we will be capable to minnow in British water. Love the UK, the Holland fishery production is concentration in little coast communities. Any losses could be disastrous in towns, Loverk and on the Isle of Texel, wherever largest families' livelihoods rely on fishery. Yet the production accounts for less than rather than 1% of Holland gross domestic product. Pim Visser, CEO of Visned, is concerned how fish resources will not be a policy bargaining microchip in next trading negotiations. Fishery is in question in a lot of feeling. As the departure treaty lyrics is currently, we might end up in a position wherever Mrs. May goes behind to Brussels and says I can get the departure via but I requirement these 13 Scotch Tories, so happy offer me the fish resources, differently I can't get it via, and we're all in profound anxiety. How would be fatal. We're soaring external the Holland Farming Ministry, wherever Mr. Visser and his fellow Gerard van Balsfort, CEO of the Pelagic Deep Freezer Trawler Associate, are advocacy ministers to provide Holland fishermen can hold their present quotas. Holland shad is portrait. We include tulips, windmills and shad, Mr. van Balsfort insists. This mind of the Holland nut creature permitted to capture our shad, for us it is fair inconceivable. And there's the twist in the story. Shad is generally trapped in UK fishery water, but the UK are less than fractional to the distinguishing flavour. 93% of its shad is exported, generally to Norway and the Netherlands. For Brits it is the minnow and shavings how portrait statute, in the ghost of mutuality, if the UK by the government were to get behind monitoring of UK water and reallocate the quotas, the EU could answer by stunning significantly high taxes and conduct more than checks on UK supply. On to Rem Korteweg, an investigator at the Holland Institution of World Relations, the just way for Britain to rectify the quotas out of creature exposed to the EU reciprocal measures is for the UK to begin sympathy shad and bonito, and they don't. Such is the interdependence of the UK-EU fishery production how historical bonds are difficult to untangle out of both of sides take an economical strike. Time Saturday's legislative departure treaty stretched current fishery institutional arrangement before a transactions is achieved, the collaborative policy proclamation put a day on it, the parties will use their top endeavours to sign and ratify it their new Fish Resources Treaty by July 1, 2020 in procedure for it to be in location in period for it to be utilised for determination fishery opportunities for the at first year following the transfer time. But near the documents signed by the UK and EU, a individual and far stricter declaration by the 27 some countries in the bloc named for more urgent and the requirement to defend fishery enterprises and coast communities, a fish resources treaty is a question of precedence, and should construct on, inter alia, current mutual accessing and quote shares. Such an treaty should be agreed so up the end of the transfer time. France's CEO Emmanuel Macron though alerted how out of a fast trade-off on fishery, negotiations on abroad trading transactions would stammer. 40 minnow handling factories prosper in the most significant fishery city. Lemon juice single, netted in UK water, are filleted there, machined and sold out behind to UK supermarkets such as Waitrose, Symbolism and Spencer and Sainsbury's. Several in the UK claim how if the Holland were constrained out of UK water, UK fishermen could capture the UK minnow instead of But Quality Assurance Certainty Officer Cornelius disagrees. This UK producers cannot make love us. We are flounder producers, we own all the machines. A man tiring a hairnet pushes a Holland paper in my brush. It says the main secretary must coil up his sleeves and struggle for our fishermen. It is a remind how in the Netherlands, UK, France and Spain, fish resources conduct more than policy influence rather than their common deposit to the economics might propose. Europe's nurtured fishery communities are portion of the domestic psyche and legacy, and are especially sensitive to any changes in the present environment. For a Scots accountability in the Netherlands, the ego on both of sides of the polar sea are tangible.